and welcome to Rathods Science Academy. Today in this session, we are going to see current affairs of 26 September 2024. So there are many articles which are relevant from our examination point of view, and we are going to discuss each and every article from our prelims and mains perspective, and we are not going to deviate anywhere. Okay, so if you are watching this analysis, please do watch this analysis daily. And one more thing is prelims is very near, right? And we are going to launch prelims test series, and this prelims test series of Rathods IAS Academy is going to launch from 29th onwards. And if you want to take offline, it is also available on offline and as well as online. So online fees is around 3,500 and offline fees is around 5,500. And if you are interested, and you can contact us on the number which is given on the screen. Okay, so don't forget, and this will be very helpful to clear your prelims for sure. Now let us see the first important article. See the title, guys. It says China test fires intercontinental ballistic missile into Pacific. So what is the keyword? Keyword is intercontinental ballistic missile. What is the keyword? Intercontinental ballistic missile. So from which subject you can say this? It is from GS paper 3 under Science and Technology. But this article is talking about China launched this. That means, can we see from international relations perspective? Yes. So what are the dimensions you have to see? You have to understand first what is a missile. Missile is a vehicle that will be taking warheads, right? Okay. So here you have to see about what exactly the missile is. And you have to see what is the purpose of that missile, why we are using that missile. And next one is, here we have different types of missile and based on different criteria. For example, based on path, we have ballistic missiles, we have cruise missiles. And where we are launching, air or like water or on land, on that we have different types. And even if you see the distance you are moving, so short range, long range, medium range, so like that we will be having different types of missiles based on different criteria, and you have to know each on every of them. And from India point of view, you have to see what is this intercontinental ballistic missile in India, and we have Agni missile. So you have to see what is this Agni missile, and actually this intercontinental is nothing but when we are launching from one continent, it can have the capability to reach another continent. That means the range is very huge. So now let us see this article in detail. I hope you understand like how you have to refer this article from your examination perspective, right? Okay. So if you see context, it says that China conducted its first test launch of intercontinental ballistic missile into Pacific Ocean. So yes, they launched this intercontinental ballistic missile into Pacific Ocean, and actually there are many countries which are opposing this move. So which are those countries? Normally the countries which are part of this Pacific Ocean, right? So for example, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, they are opposing this move. So here Chinese Defense Ministry claimed that it is the part of regular training they are doing in their country. So while here neighboring nations, they are expressing that, yes, there are serious concerns they are expressing about this move of Chinese military. Okay, so if you see some important facts that you have to get from this article here is, there is shift in military strategy. So China's intercontinental ballistic missiles, this test which mainly says that yes, there is shift from internal testing to international launches. So rather than testing within their country, they started testing out. That means there is a shift in testing of missiles, it is going on. So here we can understand that there is growing of assertiveness in this Indo-Pacific region, and as well as even we can say that there is increasing of nuclear capabilities of China. It is also one of the important threat to our country. And next one is, we can understand that because of this launch, now countries like Japan, New Zealand and Australia, they are opposing the move of China. that may lead to increasing of tensions between these countries in Indo-Pacific region. And students, we can understand that China is coming with rapid expansion of its nuclear arsenals and wants to move forward in this arms race in the region. And if you see what are the international laws and norms are there, so China's assertion that launch other two international laws, which raises now the questions about, yes, we are following these laws or not, yes or no. So China is doing this kind of test, whether they are violating international laws or not. So what is our military doing? So what are the global organizations taking care of? So all those are the questions now. And apart from that, here we can understand that, yes, even there is an allegation of corruption with this rocket force in China. So actually there also even we can say that there is increasing of command and control over nuclear capabilities of China. And even China also came up with the recent decision of increasing of their budget in this defense by 7.2%. That means they want to modernize their equipment because of rising of geopolitical tensions. And if you see some facts regarding this intercontinental ballistic missile, so they are long range missiles and they are capable of delivering these nuclear warheads across continents. And in India, we have this Agni 5. It is the first intercontinental ballistic missile. And what is the range? Ranges, it can move from 5,000 to 8,000 kilometers. So here you can see one interesting article. This is about AP to ink pact with Kerala to deploy kumkis in wild elephant affected areas. You all know that. So more number of elephants are present in this southern part compared to the northern part of our country. So this article is talking about kumkis. So here you can get a question like, recently kumkis is seen in news. What are these kumkis? Kumkis are related to what? So why we are deploying these kumkis in different states of our country? Because recently Odisha also came up with employing of these kumkis in elephant affected areas. So as you all know that in our GS paper 3 in environment and ecology, we will be studying about this topic of different kind of species. So there we will be studying about keystone species, okay, bioindicator species like that. So here elephant is an example of key species, okay, keystone species. Exactly, it is called as keystone species. So why we have to employ these kumkis? Because already you know that there is increased of animal human conflict or human animal conflict in our country. So to address this problem of human animal conflict in elephant affected area, now they are coming up with this kumkis. So if you are getting any case study in your ethics regarding this, how to address human animal conflict of elephants, you can add this article as a case study. So many states you are deploying this kumkis to address this issue. And even whenever you are writing any answer regarding human animal conflict, again you can write this article as a case study to say yes, we can incorporate this kumkis. I hope you understood like how you can use this article, right? So if you see the context, it says that Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka will sign an MOU on September 27th to deploy trained elephants. Trained elephants are called as kumkis from Karnataka, and they want to manage this issue of wild elephant issues in Andhra Pradesh, particularly in Chittoor and as well as Parvatipuram, Manyam districts, etc. So this agreement, which is mainly focusing on mitigating of human-animal conflict, and they want to get some expert elephants so that we can go for Maho training. That means the people who can who are riding these elephants. Okay, so if you see the key points in this article, it says that yes, we are moving towards this interstate collaboration. So this will be very helpful for tackling of wildlife issues, and even this is also very important because it will be showcasing the importance of shared resources and as well as expertise. And this one is it will be also very important for enhancing of human safety. So we are deploying this KUMKIS. It is an initiative which prioritizes the safety of residents in affected areas, and even they are focusing on reducing of crop damage, and even it will be helpful for changing or diverting this wild elephants as well. And even we are using this trained elephants so that it is a traditional method of wildlife management, and we can bridge this modern conservation efforts with these cultural practices. And even we can take some long-term strategies, so it will be like a formal agreement which indicates that sustainable approach to wildlife management, and even we can focus on the preventive measures rather than reactive methods. And even this will be very helpful in training of mahouts. So what happens whenever we are training these mahouts, it will be enhancing the local skills, and even it will be helpful in promoting the about elephant handling, and even we can contribute to community development as well. And even it will be helpful for environmental stewardship, like we can focus on broader conservation goals, and we can also make an harmony between wildlife and agriculture practices, and even we can focus on the political willingness. So this whenever we want to address this kind of issue, political will is very important. If you're not having any political will, we can't do anything, we can't resolve this type of pressing environmental challenges. So if we're talking about this Kumki elephant, so this word Kumki, which came from Persian language, okay, so it was also called as Kummak, which means 8, which mainly used all over in India from Bengal to Tamil Nadu. So these are mainly trained captive Asian elephants. So in elephants we have two types, like African elephants and Asian elephants. We are going for training of these Asian elephants, and they help particularly in patrolling the rescue operations. For example, when any wild elephants get hurt, this Kumki elephant provide even medical support for that elephant which had been got injured, and they would help in minimizing the conflict, so that we can mainly focus on human and as well as wildlife interest. And let us see the next topic, India sharing information between Russia, Ukraine. So this article is very, very important from your international relations point of view. As you all know that recently Quad is done, and even we are going to have a CO, everything. So in this context, how we are sharing information between this Russia and Ukraine plays a very important role. And this topic will be important from your international relations and even from GS paper 4 ethics. Okay, because you are getting some theoretical based questions in your ethics from international relations, that comes under international relations ethics, ethics in international relations. So you have to focus on even ethical dimensions from your IR articles. So now let us see this. So if you see context, it says that our external affairs minister stated that India is facilitating a dialogue between Russia and Ukraine, and they want to promote peace, and they want to emphasize that war won't end on the battlefield. And finally, they confirmed that India is also sharing information between the two parties, and India also clarified that India is giving some assistance to neighboring countries like even Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, which is unconditional. And we are focusing on good neighborliness than rather than political control in the neighborhood. So if you want to see the key things, like if you see the role of India, it is nothing but diplomatic role. So India itself is acting as a mediator in global conflicts, so that India is reflecting the growing international influence. And this one is strategic communication. So by sharing information between conflicting parties, so India is also enhancing its diplomatic credibility. And this one is India is also focusing on aid approach, which reflects commitment to regional stability over political leverage. And this one is even we are focusing on non-interference in neighbors' political matters. That means we are focusing on our respect for sovereignty. And if you see the next one, we are also emerging as a global leader, okay? So that we are also focusing on conflict resolution as well. And this one is India is also focusing on financial assistance during the crisis, which is mainly saying that yes, we are becoming a responsible regional partner. And even we are also having some dialogues which are providing some unconditional aid. So it will be helpful for building of long lasting relationship with other countries. So if you see the next article, it is about Center estimates record production of food grains in 2023 to 2024. So what is the important theme of this article? It is talking about increased food production. So here you have to see what are the reasons for this increasing of food production. This is the first important thing. And you have to see like what will be the impact of this increasing of food production. And next one is you have to see like what are the steps or measures to be taken to control this food price. Already we know that CPI in food is increasing. Food inflation is very high in India. So how we are going to control that? So this topic is important from your GS paper 1 under geography, and even from GS paper 2 under governance, and even from your GS paper 3 under economy. So all these are very, very important. Okay. Now let us see this article. So this article is saying that Union Agriculture Ministry projected that there is increased food grain production, okay, in year 2023 to 2024. So there is no more of remembering this data at all. So here there is one concern which is said that rice, wheat and millet production have been increased. But on another side, there is decrease in pulses, oil seeds and sugarcane. Why? Because of drought-like conditions which are affecting the moisture levels, particularly in the southern states and Rajasthan. In southern states and Rajasthan here, there is decreased production of pulses, oil seeds and as well as sugarcane. But on another side, rice, wheat and millet production have been increased. So if you see the details, it says that there is a record growth in food grains. So the estimated increase in the food grains production, which indicates that yes, there is effective agriculture practices, and we are saying that because of these practices, obviously we are increasing our food production. And whenever there is increasing of production, yes, we can ensure food security and we can decrease hunger as well. And next one is, yes, we are giving priority for the different crops. So because of this, yes, we are going for crop diversification in some areas, so that led to the increasing of production of millets. And next one is, in some areas there is decreasing of production of pulses, sugarcane, oil seeds. Why? Because of climatic conditions. So the drought-like conditions in southern states, they demonstrate the vulnerability of agriculture to climate variability. That will be very helpful for adaptive strategies for sustainable farming. And even we can see that, yes, whenever there is declining of production of this pulses and oil seed, obviously we have to depend on other countries, right? Because of this, what happen in future, we may get inflation in this pulses, oil seeds. Again, that in turn leads to the increasing of food inflation. And next one is, even there is sugar production challenges. Whenever the sugar cane production had been decreased, and as you all know that India is the second largest producer of sugar in the world. So this position may be affected, and here if you want to retain that position, then we have to focus on irrigation. We have to focus on drought mitigation practices in areas which we grow this sugarcane. And this one is, if you are going from one region to another region, yes, there is variation in the crop performance, and especially we need to focus on agriculture policies to support farmers in the drought affected areas. So those things that you can remember. And next topic, it is about the misplaced move of one nation, one election. It is also called as simultaneous elections. And in your GS paper 2 mains, the first question is your simultaneous elections. Okay, now let us see this article from your UPSC point of view. So what is this one nation, one election or simultaneous election? So we are going to conduct elections for Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies together. So this concept is called as simultaneous elections. Why it is in news? Because of recent COVID committee recommendation said that yes, we can move to this simultaneous election. So because of this, This is in news once again. So here this concept of one nation, one election refers to the idea of holding simultaneous polls for state assemblies, Lok Sabha, and recently COVID committee said that we can go for elections commonly for Lok Sabha, state legislative assembly, and even this local bodies together in two phases, phase 1 and as well as phase 2. That means in phase 1 we can go for elections of the state assemblies and as well as Lok Sabha, and within 100 days we can go for elections of this local bodies. So this is the thing which recommended in this COVID committee. But actually what is this concept of one nation election? That is Lok Sabha and as well as state legislative assemblies polls. So if you see the historical background of the simultaneous elections in India, one nation, one election was a norm in India till 1967. So here, first time in India, the elections, that is simultaneous elections conducted in 1952, 57, 62 and 1967. Later on, what happened, there is instability in states, that there is premature dissolution of some legislative assemblies. So because of this, the cycle of simultaneous elections has been disrupted because of political instability in the states. Okay, and if you see here, which are the arguments which are in favor of this one nation, one elections. That means what happens if you are having this concept of one nation, one elections. Already you wrote answer for this question. The first one here is, there is obviously reduction of burden on the state exchequer. For example, in 2014 Lok Sabha polls which cost around 3,870 crore for exchequer, and 2015 Bihar elections alone cost 300 crores. So like that, when we are going for this simultaneous elections, so here we can reduce the cost. And next one here is, there will be better utilization of financial resources by political parties. So political parties will be doing better management of financial resources, and even the parties, they will try to reduce the campaign expenditure as well. And next one here is, there will be reduced duration of model code of conduct. So whenever we are having elections for states and Lok Sabha differently, so there will be imposition of this model code of conduct every time when we are having elections. So that what happen, it will reduce the effectiveness of governance. That will lead to policy paralysis. So we can reduce that. And next one is, we can focus on governance instead of being election mode. So if you are having frequent elections, obviously everyone will be having their mindset according to how to win the elections, but they will not focus on governance process. So here we can focus on the governance instead of election mode. And even we can increase administrative efficiency, because one nation, one election, what happens here is, we will be having election for assembly and as well as Lok Sabha. So during these elections, the entire state machinery as well as high ranking officers from other states also deputed. So because of this, what happened? So here we will, if we are having the simultaneous elections, we can deploy them together, so that what happened, we can increase efficiency. And even we can improve internal security issues as well, and we can reduce the use of back money in these elections. And this one is, we can reduce the populistic measures of the government, and so that we can focus on the long-term programs and policies. And this one is, obviously we can increase the voter turnout, and we can also improve social harmony. The frequent election will mainly disturb this caste, religion, communal issues across the country, so that we are leading to the polarizing events in our so-and-so state. So we have to reduce them. So how we can reduce? By simultaneous elections. And what are the argument against? So there will be reducing of accountability, because the regular elections will ensure that government is under obligation to listen the will of the people. If you're not having this elections frequently, then people will be thinking that here governance is not happening properly. Government is not able to listen the problems of people. And this one is, even it will be undermines the federal power, because mostly the issues of central government will be get highlighted rather than the state government. So because of this, it will obviously undermine the federal power between central and state. And next one is, there is disadvantage for regional political parties. Okay, because they will be not spending as much as money as this national political parties are spending, and even national issues will be dominate this rural local issues. And even if you see, the election strategies of rural parties will be entirely different from this national political parties. They will be not having any match, there is mismatch. The national political parties may win over these regional political parties. And even this is against the spirit of democracy. So critics, they are arguing that forcing simultaneous election against democracy, they are trying to create one artificial style of elections, and they are restricting the voters' choice. So because of this, it is against the spirit of democracy. And even whenever we are having elections at the national level and the state level together, it will be also have influence on the voter choices and electoral behavior as well. And even it will be sometimes threat to internal security, and as well as it will be also decreasing the democratic will. Okay, so this is a thing that you already know, and I think there is no need of much detailed explanation of that. And say this very interesting article of the day, that is China's warning shots with minerals that run the world. So what is this article here is, in the month of August, China made a declaration that China is going to restrict export of antimony. So we discussed about number of times in our analysis that critical minerals. So these minerals are very, very important for the development of any nation. It may be security wise, it may be development of technology or innovation. For everything we need these critical minerals. Now many countries, they dependent on China for these critical minerals, but unfortunately now China declared that we are going to stop export of this antimony. Then what will be the future? What will be happening now? So think and tell me what will be happening now if China is stopping export of this antimony. So from which subject we can say this? From GS paper 3 under Science and Technology, and from GS paper 2 under International Relations, right? And even we can see GS paper 2 impact on society. Okay, now let us see this article in detail. So China has restricted the export of antimony, which is a very critical mineral for military applications. So why? Because they said that it is having threat on our national security. Because of that, we are stopping export of this antimony to other countries. So this move, which reflects about China's dominance in global critical minerals supply chain, and even controlling a significant proportion of production and processing. And one more thing, YouTube students, I'm going to post every day one question on current affairs in our Telegram channel. Okay, we have two Telegram channels. One is Rathods IS English channel and Telugu channel. So whichever you want, you can join that group, so that I will be sharing the question, and even I will be sharing the model answer for that question next day. Okay, so if you want to improve your main skills, try to join that group. Okay, don't hesitate. And see here, if you see this article, it is saying that yes, China is using its geopolitical leverage. So China's export restrictions reveal that its strategic use of critical minerals to exert influence globally by the controlling of essential resources. China now significantly can impact military and technological capabilities of its rivals. So actually, this is the one strategy which is mainly used by China is, China makes the countries to be dependent on that initially. And after it knows that that country is entirely dependent on it, it will stop the exports. Then what happened? So it will be having impact on the entire economy, politics, society, everything of that country now is in the hands of the China. So in this way, China will play the games. Okay. So here China is showing the geopolitical leverage. And next one here is, now the countries, if they are not getting this essential things, then what happens? There is vulnerability in the supply chain. So now actually Western countries, they relied on these Chinese minerals, which highlights their critical vulnerability now. So now again there is increasing of tensions in these Western countries like US and its allies, and now they are struggling for setting up of new other alternative sources. And this one here is, there is further still increasing of tensions because of recent export controls, which is signifying a shift in our Chinese foreign policy, and they are moving towards an aggressive stance again. So whenever they are moving towards aggressive stance, again that will lead to increasing of tensions with Western nations, and further that will increase the divide. And next one here is China's tactics, which also shows like even US oil embargo against Japan, and even the long-standing tradition of leveraging resources for political gains. So actually here this is not for the first time, it had been done by China. Earlier also different times it had been done, but not only China, even US had been did the same thing regarding Japan also. So here the countries, they are doing this because of their political gain. And now what will be the implications on technology? Because these critical minerals are very essential. If they're not getting this, means can they focus on advanced technologies like green energy initiatives? No. So this will underscores about the resource availability, and even this will be underscoring about the technological development of a country, and China will become the superpower if it is stopping these exports. And this one here is China's action, which also reflect a reciprocal approach to the US policies. So actually US tightens the controls over technology exports, and China will be responding like stopping of exports in retaliation. So tit for tat. And next one here is, if you see the future outlook, so as the ties of these Western countries are deteriorating with China, because of that they want to come out of China. So on this also you got some mains question in your GS paper 2 from international relations, that is China plus one policy. So why India is an alternative for this China plus one policy, and what are the advantages India to be having to occupy that vacuum. So this is about future outlook. So in the future outlooks they have to come out of China and they have to invest in the other countries. And next one is they want to even diversify their supply chains to mitigate the associated risk with these Chinese dominance. Okay, I hope it is clear. And today I will be giving you the main question on this topic, and I will be posting this question in the group. Try to answer that. Okay, clear? So these are some important articles up here in our today's Hindu newspaper. So by this I am concluding. And if you really like this class, hit the like button and please do share this class to your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to Rathods Academy. Thank you so much guys for watching.